Good evening and welcome to the Northreach Board of Directors meeting. The date is January 21st, 2018. This will be the final meeting of this board. Present tonight, we have the CEO, Secretary Treasurer, the REO for Astro Winds, for Ravenstone, Loop and Moon, Frozen Coast is all present. The whole board is in attendance. Yay. So everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda. I give the board one opportunity to propose additions to the agenda at this time. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, hearing no motions, we will move forward with the agenda as is. So the first item on the agenda is a request to formally seal the records regarding previous membership suspension, expulsion, and all the details for that. Do we have a second for that?
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. The motion is seconded. Prior to a vote, does anybody have any discussion they feel is necessary?
I'd like to discuss exactly how we plan on sealing these records to prevent it from being trivial to retrieve them. I want it to be something where I want to keep them so that if we need to reference them in the future, we still can, but I don't want them to be something that we can just open and look at because we're on the board.
Okay, suggestions? Threshold of unsealed.
These are open by 51%, right? We can't really change that, right? Because they'll be the BOD. The BOD 50%, they can change what we decide should be the allotted amount, right? So, like, it's 50%.
We can make a vote to require a vote to unseal it. I think legally a future board could probably ignore that, but if I were a member, I would impeach people for doing that sort of thing. The other option would be that we could add it to the admin manual through a unanimous vote, and we could require any sealed documents to require a further unanimous vote to unseal. That would be something that could not be overturned with a 51% in the future. So that's an option for you guys. If it is in the admin manual, then that would allow the all thing, a 2/3 vote of the all thing, to potentially unseal it as well, since they can amend the admin manual. Although I think getting 2/3 of the membership to vote to unseal that would be pretty unlikely. It'd be pretty high threshold, a reasonable one, I think. So I think those are the only ways that we can force a future board to do anything less than a 51%. Thoughts or suggestions?
So,
hi, Josh.
I think a good place to start is, where do we want to store these? Are these going to be something that we keep in like a locked section of the forums, or are we gonna like print them off and lock them up in a filing cabinet somewhere? I think location is going to be a big part of just how secure and how sealed these are.
That's a good question, and I think that
right now there is a section of the forums that is only open to the Kingdom Monarch and Kingdom Prime Minister for incredibly sensitive passwords. And so there is already a section that exists for sensitive information like that. So I don't know if that would be appropriate for it to be the Kingdom Monarch and Kingdom Prime Minister that have access to that, but the forums have the great, we have a great permission set to restrict it. I guess the drawback on that is that we have, you can add forum admins with various privileges, and so, that permission set could be expanded in the future. Maybe not intentionally, but through potential, mismanagement of not realizing. So I don't know.
I think that the easiest thing to do right now would to just simply state that the board requires a certain threshold of security, and then allow either myself or the Prime Minister to figure out a suggestion for that, notify the board what we come up with, and make sure that that meets all their criteria. Because I don't know that I have a foolproof way to do it right this second, but and that's something we can even vote on offline or online, whatever. We got enough time to squeeze it before the end of the term, I think. So, and in blue, that's something you can also, as the GM of Spiders, you can look into making suggestions for that if you have ideas.
Will do.
Is anybody concerned about sealing these electronically? Like, is there anybody that feels that it's really necessary to print these out and physically, like, maintain that?
Actually, you know, just as a thought, how would you guys feel about having the investigator hold all the records just on behalf of the organization?
Sounds great.
Would that be something that would be good?
I like that one,
okay,
because that gives no one access to the information that doesn't already have it. So I think that's the safest option to go with.
Right. Okay. Then is to make sure I'm following along with what everybody's seems to be agreeing with. So the motion as it stands, or as I'm interpreting it, is 1, that we're motioning to seal the records. That 2, we are going to add a section to the admin manual that says sealed records can only be opened by a unanimous vote of the board, and that these particular sealed records will be held by the investigator for the situation on behalf of the organization. Is that correct?
It's absolutely necessary to have it be a unanimous decision of the board.
What threshold would you prefer?
I think a majority vote is plenty sufficient. If a majority of the board needs to review these details, I think that
Majority
would
of the board is 4 people.
If a majority of the board thinks they need to review these details and one member of the board disagrees, I feel like there's I feel like we'd lose something there, because we can't review it because one person can shoot it down.
Well, it requires a unanimous vote to seal it in the first place. So the idea is that there are 6 people that unanimously felt this needed to be sealed, but only 4 people are needed to unseal it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I guess I'm inclined to agree with Blue. I think that it's much easier to get a unanimous decision when everyone knows what's up. And in the future, you have a theoretical board that, if the majority of them think that it's really important for whatever reason, legal or otherwise, to be able to get at this, and one person doesn't, I just don't feel like I guess I agree with Blue. I don't know. Put it into better words than that.
I think for our board, a majority and 2/3 is the same thing, right? We have a 6-person board.
Yeah.
2/3 would be 4. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 4 either way. So supermajority doesn't really change anything either.
At this time.
At this time, but we can right now. If with what Blue and Josh are suggesting, then we don't need to add anything to the admin manual. It would just simply be a board action to seal it and a board action to unseal it, and that's a 51%.
And just so that I'm clear on the records that we're talking about, we're discussing the records that the board has, and this doesn't impact the investigators if the investigator has additional information or whatnot.
Only the information the organization has.
Okay.
We don't have jurisdiction over any information that doesn't belong to us, so I don't think we can request it to seal.
Okay. Well, let's. I'll tell you what. We'll move forward as a standard board action. And if you as a board member think that we need to have a higher threshold, then I suggest you vote no on this motion. And then if that motion doesn't carry, we can move forward with a motion for adding it to the admin manual and whatnot. Fair enough?
Are we doing this in 2 votes? One to seal it, one to what we want sealed to mean?
It was going to be 1 vote just to seal it with just a 51% requirement to unseal it. So if you guys want more than 51%, vote no on this measure. So the motion is that we will, with a board action, seal the information officially, and allow the custodian of those records to be the investigator, and that a simple majority board action could unseal it in the future. So we'll go ahead and vote. Astro wins.
Yes.
Okay. Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupin Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast. Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Okay. Secretary.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll vote yes as well. The board is unanimous. So we will move forward with that motion. I'll make a quick note here. Any other questions or thoughts on that topic? We now have a vote before the board to open up. Some quick background. We just opened up the new bank account at the new bank. We have 1 primary account. We need to open up sub accounts for each region, and we need board minutes to do that. So the vote before the board is to approve the opening of 5 accounts. Recognized region. So I'd like to second that motion.
I would like to second that motion.
Motion is seconded. We'll move to a vote. Astro wins.
Yes.
Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupin Moon.
Yep. Yes. Sorry.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right. Board is unanimous. That passes. Next item is we just had elections. We have a new secretary treasurer, that being Mara Amanda. And we need to vote her into all of the new bank accounts. So the vote is to add Amanda to all 6 bank accounts, which we will include the details for which in the minutes when we get them. All right. So Astrowin, or no, we need a second for that first. Sorry.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion is seconded. Astrowins.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if we say no here? What happens? Like the
Well,
people
if
already
the
voted
majority
for her,
vote no,
right?
then the organization has to figure out how to move forward. So
Okay.
it still requires a vote. And if 51% of the people did not want her to have access to the bank accounts, we'd have to figure something out.
Okay.
So Astor wins.
Yes.
All right. Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupin Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
Board is unanimous. I know this stuff is a little bit tedious, but we actually have to have these formally voted for, just like this, in order for the bank. So the next vote is to add the Astrowinds Prime Minister to the new Astrowinds account.
I second it.
All right. Motion is seconded. Vote is Astrowinds.
Yes.
Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupin Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right. Unanimous vote to appoint the new the Astrowinds Prime Minister to the new bank account. Appointment of the Ravenstone Prime Minister to the new bank account.
I second.
Motion is seconded. Astrowinds.
Yes.
Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupin Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right. Board is unanimous. Next motion is to appoint the Lupin Moon Prime Minister to the new bank account.
I second it.
All right. Motion is seconded. Astor wins.
Yes.
Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupa Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. Appointment of the Frozen Coast Prime Minister to the new bank account.
I second it.
Seconded.
All right. Motion is seconded. Astor wins.
Yes.
Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupa Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. And lastly, to appoint the Ice Fire Base
Second it.
Prime Minister to the new bank account. Motion seconded. Astor wins.
Yes.
All right. Ravenstone.
Yes.
Lupa Moon.
Yes.
Frozen Coast.
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. All right, so those are all the new bank accounts. So the next item up here, this will require a unanimous vote of the board, but in the admin manual that we've got, that's the official version of the admin manual, the previous board didn't or neglected to insert the forms that we used, so that that would be the waiver, the membership application, the affidavit of office,
And the attendance.
and the attendance records, or those the sign-in sheets. Those all just need to be added. So I need a second for that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, motion is seconded. Any discussion necessary for that one before we vote on it?
We're adding a little bit to the we're doing a vote to add something to it. So should we do that first and then add
Yes.
it after we okay.
Yeah, I got caught up in the fury of the bank accounts, and I was moving a little fast there. But you are absolutely correct. Astor wins. There was some previous discussion by this board to the membership application, concerns based on they just wanted some sort of disclaimer or information about how we were going to use the information in the membership application. So we're going to first vote to add this language to the Northreach membership application, and that will be a disclaimer that reads: the information on this form is for internal business use only and will not be shared with any outside agency without the consent of the signer unless otherwise required by law. Anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Motion is seconded. Any discussion necessary before we vote?
This doesn't change how we operate. We're going to do the same thing over again. It's just clarifying to people what our intentions are.
Yes, exactly. All right. I was 3 Mississippi, so Astor wins.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Ravenstone,
Yes.
Luke and Moon,
Yes.
Frozen Coast,
Yes.
Secretary.
Yes.
All right, and I vote yes. So that it will be added to the membership agreement, or membership application, excuse me. And then we have the appendices that I just named off there. I'll name them off again. That's the waiver, the membership application, the affidavit of office, and the sign-in sheets all need to be added to their appropriate place in the admin manual. Is there any discussion anybody would like to make on that before we move forward? And this is, of course, the modified membership application that we just voted on. So, all right, can I get a second then?
Second.
Okay, motion is seconded. Astor wins.
Yes.
Okay, Ravenstone,
Yes.
the Moon,
Yes.
Frozen Coast,
Yes.
Secretary,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So the board is unanimous. So we will add those to the admin manual. Okay. Okay, and then a quick vote here before we end the board meeting to formally request that the secretary add the election results for the current board members to the minutes for this meeting.
I second this motion.
Motion is seconded. Astor wins.
Yes.
Ravenstone,
Yes.
Luke and Moon,
Yes.
Frozen Coast,
Yes.
Secretary?
Yes.
I vote yes, so the board is unanimous. So Secretary, if you would please add those results so that our minutes will reflect the new board members. That concludes everything that's on the agenda. I'll give you guys one last moment to present any business to the board.
I just have just a little update for everybody. Expect that tomorrow to be receiving an email from Denali again, from Ariana, for another DocuSign for these board minutes, so that we can she can move forward with adding everybody to the bank accounts. And Deli, I'll spell your name right.
All right. Then I have no further business for the board of directors. While your terms don't end for another couple of weeks, this will be the last meeting that we have in this fashion. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for your 6 months of service as members of the board of directors. It's been a fun ride, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys have put into it. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Oh yeah, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'd like to second that.
All right. Any opposed? All right, then we'll call this meeting adjourned at 8:22 p.m.